Hey guys, we finally made it out of the Blackmagic booth and over to BirdDog, and we've spent another substantial amount of time, as you can probably imagine, catching up with folks and talking about the new camera line. So they have launched Mackie Live, which is a very small form factor of the Mackie, which everybody's familiar with, but it's always a lot larger than I guess we were all planning on it to be. But it's a very little impressive camera, and they've had a lot of positive response because it is the main concept that I understand is that we're talking about quick setup and quick takedown, something very like run and gun, and not so much for content creators as I originally thought, but more so about if you have press conferences and things like that, they don't want to have a tech-heavy way of capturing video and then transporting that. They just want to have a quick way to set up 2 or 3 angles, into a video switcher and then pipe it out. And so it makes a lot of sense. I could see for the price point of around $500 US, plus probably whatever the tariffs are going to be, I can see that being a real advantage to BirdDog in that space, mostly because there's a market there that they're kind of almost throwaway cameras. They're actually fairly inexpensive for what they are. They give a pretty good picture, BirdDog standard quality, and then the functionality of wireless, but also HX3 and so on and so forth. They also have a brand new control surface that is a product that's been developed into a touch surface, like an actual physical one. Looks a lot like an ATEM, and that gives the ability for you to bring in all your NDI sources and do live video switching, but also do like conferences, use it as USB, I believe USB out as your webcam, also probably output NDI HX3. It's quite an interesting, robust piece of hardware, but most of it's controlled on a web UI, and so they have it on an iPad, for example, that shows them changing sources and whatever, but then physical buttons on this device. And the software is free, but the device is not, and so you gotta get the device to really make the software work. But it is kind of their answer to the Blackmagic ATEM in their space, but it's not really a vMix replacement. That's more for robust when you have a guy that's doing your production. You would run something like vMix, which is under $1,000 for a great version of vMix, whereas this, if you're a standalone or a solo content creator, then you could use something like this. Now, I won't talk about features that are not there yet that there might be coming up with, because let's just be realistic about some of that stuff. But what I will say is all of the pieces are there for it almost to be automated. And so I don't know about an API yet, but all the pieces are almost there for it to be a fairly automated system, and that would be ideal for people that already have an NDI infrastructure, but are their own producer, myself included. And so I don't really have an NDI infrastructure, but if you were to get a bunch of those Mackie Live devices and then plug them in and then run this little control surface, that would make for a very quick takedown and setup situation where I could shoot anywhere. Now, depending on where you are in this, if you're a lighting person, if it's a professional video situation, this may not hit that market. But if it's just I need to quickly set up an interview, high school, college, professional basketball, football, hockey, whatever, this may be a quick way, non-intrusive, very small footprint, set up, take down real fast, probably less than 15 minutes, and you'd be up and done in that time. So pretty impressive stuff. And then, so a new camera and this new control surface, and then they are, it looks like they're rebranding BirdDog Cloud to BirdDog Connect, and so more on that during my show. I've had a couple of conversations with development, and we can chat about what all that means. So really cool. If you've missed NAB, you missed a great BirdDog booth this year. They're kind of tucked away here, and they're ironically next to PTZ Optics, which is hilarious. But you missed a great little booth. They're very busy, but that's why we came on day 2, so that we could get a little FaceTime in with them without it being too busy. So, of course, it's a little bit of a homecoming for me. Good to see people that are basically family at this point, my Australian family, and a lot of US sales guys. So they're doing well, and we're going to go check out some more of the floor, probably going to get some lunch, and then and continue on for the afternoon. So follow along for more stuff, and we'll chat with you soon.